My presentation today is on Sesame Workshop. So for those who may not know, Sesame Workshop is the nonprofit. It was founded in 1969 as Children's Television Workshop and was initially designed to do the research and the production behind Sesame Street, later the Electric Company, and now today has lots of different shows and programs that they produce. But the mission of the organization is to help kids grow smarter, stronger, and kinder, and that's both through programming in television, on streaming, through apps, games, and all of the media that they create. And it's a pretty special relationship that this company has with sort of two sides of the house, so to speak. So they have media and education, which handles all of the, handles all of the licensing content and general royalties, as well as an impact and philanthropy side of the house, which really serves communities directly. They're the ones that do all the funding and initiatives and stuff so they can have as wide a reach as possible. And it's this nice holistic approach where the education needs of children in 2025 challenges the programming and the artists that are creating that work that they put out, but then the programming also makes kids and their families smarter, which inspires new goals for the education department. Now, even though this is a finance class as a nonprofit, it's not strictly about the money. Their objective is having that global impact on education. They're really looking, the way they measure success is by the efficacy of their programs, whether that is in South Africa, where they're teaching families how to handle when their children are diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. In Syria, they do programming with refugees. In Saudi Arabia, they've done things about gender equity, to say nothing of the flagship show domestically. So, if we look at the funding breakdown for their fiscal year 2024, the way that they bring in revenue comes in a couple different ways. Licensing agreements with different toy companies and other things that are making all of the merch. Distribution fees to companies like HBO, Apple TV Plus, where they're distributing their shows, and then program support through private grants, viewers like you, all that sort of thing. So as we break down their financial positions, last year they came in with total assets of just over $600 million. They were up $34.2 million in net assets from the year before. Their cash and investments total up at $463.7 million, and their liabilities were down by $12.8 million year over year. So this is really showing a stable asset base. It's showing conservative liability management, financial health, and long-term sustainability, which is really crucial for their mission-driven continuity. So it allows them to invest in taking calculated risks, such as emerging platforms and piloting new content on whatever new apps and platforms that kids and their families are watching on.
This is no small not-for-profit.
No, it's not.
Yeah, okay.
Very much not. And because truly their reach is all over the world. They're in 120 countries. So, statement of activities, their operating revenue is at $171 million. Their operating expenses, $169.7 million. They're up $2 million in net assets from operations, and their operating investment return is $32.3 million. So again, not too shabby. It's a modest surplus, but the bulk of the growth really comes from their investment returns. It's definitely indicative of fiscal discipline, and it's a strong percentage, especially for a nonprofit. again, really allowing them to do all the things that they want to do from a mission standpoint. When we look at the net cash from operations, they're at around 1 million there, net cash used in investing, 9.4 million, and their ending cash balance year over year was down 9.7 million, but this was really, as they reported in their report, an indication of proactive reinvestment in the company. It allowed for more programs and productions to be put into place, and it aligns with their long-term educational goals. So as much as that was a dip, it was not necessarily to be expected, but it was an understandable dip. So overall, things are really strong with their financial ratios. They're at a 2.18 ratio with a 5.6 return on investment. Their receivable turnover is around 3.86. Everything is looking very helpful in terms of illustrating liquidity, operational efficiency, and really allowing them to have this stability and mission effectiveness moving into the future. We could really see that they're using their assets in a very prudent way. So as they do this and as they move into the future, again, year over year, they're putting about $133 million into programming. That's for global impact, content creation, research, and public awareness of their different platforms. Obviously, in the United States, it's very easy for us to take for granted characters like Elmo and Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch, but when they're trying to get a new show on the ground in a country like Bangladesh, they really need to, they're like television ministers, so to speak. And then of course they're also investing in venture capital, global equities, and fixed income as well. It becomes this virtuous cycle between a brand equity, letting people know about the show and the characters and the mission that generates revenue, and then that revenue reinforces this mission-driven programming. Again, we talked about that this allows them to explore avenues on different streaming services. They're always able to make a quick buck on the merchandising and the merch rights. Of course, they're taking in donations from viewers like you, and just continuing to add to their stable of characters and initiatives. So from their earliest days in 1969 to whatever they're doing today and into the future, if anybody approaches you and asks if you're interested in investing in Sesame Workshop or donating in Sesame Workshop, I would definitely say that it is a buy.
Good. Good job. I got some questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has though first. What spurred your interest in doing that? I didn't know the size of that. It's like, when you started throwing the numbers, I was blown away by the size.
Oh yeah, so I'm a lifelong Sesame Street and Muppet enthusiast. I moonlight as a puppeteer.
Oh really?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who work as puppeteers on Sesame Street. And I'm actually, part of my capstone and thesis is about performers taking on legacy character roles and how that aligns with mentorship, the need for mentorship in preventing the imposter syndrome, because that's not exactly a role that you go to school and train up for, to be the next Mickey Mouse or Kermit the Frog or Elmo. So it's kind of a case study and showing the need for more of that. So Sesame Workshop is ever present in my mind. I kind of had a outside understanding that it was a big company. I did not know like the amount of money that they deal in, but it makes sense knowing, again, the reach that organization has throughout the world.
And how long, in your research, or maybe you just know this, how long have they had that global type of reach?
So I can't chart it specifically, but within the first, it may have been the first 5 years, if not the first 10 years of Sesame Street being on in the United States. First of all, there were people, educators saying that Sesame Street was great, but older kids needed a show for literacy as well, which is where the Electric Company was developed as their second show. And then they were also approached by filmmakers in Germany, saying, or television producers in Germany, saying that they wanted to create their own version of Sesame Street, and that got the ball rolling on international co-productions. So they're up to, it always fluctuates, but I know there's at least 7 or 8 international co-productions at this time, ranging from just dubbing the United States version of Sesame Street into the native tongue of whatever country, or having a full-out like original version of the show with their own unique characters and puppeteers and all that.
Yeah. And then it's headquartered here in the United States.
I'm sorry?
It's headquartered.
Yes, it is in New York City.
And then they must translate the effects of the worldwide global impact back into U.S. dollars.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
I'd seen a few weeks back that they were getting a lot of USAID money as well to fund the
Yes,
global.
they've received USAID money in the past. They've also received, Lego has a big, they do a lot of investment. That was a couple of years ago that they got a huge influx of cash from the Lego Foundation, which allowed them to spearhead specifically the Syrian refugee program that they do.
Good.